there, dear Spellweaver community, and welcome back to another episode of Spellweaver Ranked! I already actually did the introduction, but my fucking shitty ass recording program fucked it up, so I gotta do it all over again. It was like 10 minutes, but no problem. So, as you might already know, if you look at my playlist, we have already played all the traditional Rush decks, which obviously we have played Rage Rush just in the stream lately, as to be frank. We have played zombies. I'm actually not too sure about this, but gotta check out the playlist. But I think we have played zombies. I'm gonna X out elves because elves are just absolute and total crap. Even though now that the Elvish Champion has been released and Riri, the Grand Slam champion Rinriad, actually this week made a in his deck review series on the official Spellweaver page, he actually made the deck tag for elves. And now, you know, as I said, with the addition of the Elvish Champion, maybe elves Rush could actually be a thing. Maybe it's not as terrible as it used to be. No. I actually already made the deck with from the Spellweaver main page, so I'm gonna try out elves and we'll see if maybe they are still viable, or if they are again viable in rank. The only traditional, if we're gonna X out elves, the only traditional Rush deck that we haven't played yet is obviously soldiers. We have played red soldiers and we have played blue soldiers. Red soldiers, by the way, is a deck that Vanguard X, a fellow member of the Shrining, is high, or he thinks really highly about it, and he made like a whole elaborate deck. When Spellweaver DB wasn't up yet, he made a whole elaborate deck on the forums as well. For us, I think we played 3 games, we lost 2. For blue soldiers, we played 3 games, we lost 2. And my own creation, black soldiers, which obviously featured corruption and order, I think we lost 3 out of 3. So for the soldier archetype, it just doesn't seem to work for me. Red soldiers, by the way, of course, is a classic soldiers deck that features rage spells. Blue soldiers is a standard soldier archetype that features wisdom spells, and black soldiers, my own creation, obviously features zombies and corruption spells. Because quite frankly, I think removal wise, order isn't that good. The interesting part about all this, though, I played a good amount of friendly games lately. I always do that when I test out new decks and when I just want to get my daily Spellweaver fix. And if I play 5 games, 6 out of those, for some odd reason, are always against soldiers. I don't know why. I mean, we have a new surge of players. Maybe they... And, you know, you basically have all the cards that you have for soldiers. But you know, same goes if you just unlock the Rage starter deck, you basically have all cards for Rage Rush as well. So I don't know why I run into soldiers 6 out of 5 times all the time. It's kind of weird. But aside from that, let's check out the deck tag right here, or the cards that we run in this. Obviously, every soldier's deck has to run Alexa. She is just the best one for that. Rally the Peasants is her ability, which is a cooldown of 2 turns, which is nothing. 1 aspect, 1 mana, dirt cheap basically. Summon a militia onto the field if you control another creature. And a militia is a 1/1 with 1 speed that gets 2 speed if its attack is stronger than or greater than 1. As for the creatures, we have a 1/0/2 speed that gives Valor whenever it enters the field, and of course we can choose the creature that gets Valor. Valor is just a might emblem, +1/+1 for a creature. Steelhouse Spearman is a 3-speed 1/1 that is ranged while defending. Great early game drop, and just great to defend yourself against Rage Rush, because other than the Lizard Barbarino, all the 1-drops that Rage they also have only 1 H Pizzle, so it's easy to remove them and also maintain the Steelhouse Spearman on the board. Also, he is 3 speed, blocks pretty much everything in the game. Dwarf Musketeer is a 1/2 speed, also a good early game drop, and range is if a creature is ranged, that's always a good, nice bonus. Dwarf Spellbreaker is a 2/2 speed, also dirt cheap to play. Dwarf Spellbreaker, and he also gets +1 speed as long as the enemy controls a spell, so it's pretty good against zombies. Zombies also can't remove the Spellbreaker because he has 2 speed, unless, of course, they run basic Nefaris and slow him down, or just have Hands from Beyond. Though, when Dwarf Spellbreaker deals combat damage to a hero, destroy a spell that hero controls. So he has a 3 speed, you basically need Nefaris hero ability, basic Nefaris that is, to actually deal with him when you run zombies. Or you need to drop 2 Hands of Beyond, which no one in his right mind does. And also, 3 speed. He gets down to a 2 speed, but it means that you can, of course, get rid of an enemy spell, which is always a great bonus. Then we have one of my favorite cards, actually, the Steelnor Innkeeper, because he has a really unique ability. First off, when he enters the field, you get to shuffle 5 creatures from either your or the enemy deck back into your graveyard, back into your deck. That way it makes sense. And if you pay 1 mana, you stupefy Steelnor Innkeeper and an enemy creature, which means if you stupefy, let's say an Elder Red Dragon, he is stupefied, he isn't flying anymore, so he's in the front line, and he can't use Dragonfire anymore. For a Phoenix, if you stupefy him, he can't rebirth anymore, and he's not flying anymore, so basically removes all the flavor of a card and puts it down to basic card stats, which is always, of course, a good thing. Night Recruiter. When he enters the field, basically he is a 2-2. Whenever he enters the field, he summons a militia right with him, so he is a 2-2 right from the bat, and he gets +1/+1 for each soldier on your front line, so you can put Night Recruiter in the back line if you feel threatened or something. And as long as you have like 4 soldiers in your front line, that guy is a 5/5, which is always a good thing. And of course goes hand in hand with Alexa hero ability. CFC Cavalry Field Captain, also a great card. When he enters the field, another creature you control gets +1 attack, +1 speed, and +1 HP. The +1 speed thing is actually really viable to go for face damage or to deal creatures that you otherwise wouldn't be able to hit. And it's a 2/2 3 speed, so basically blocks everything in the game with the 3 speed threshold. Then we have the Elite Vanguard, a vanilla 3/3 2 speed card that is actually pretty not pretty costly, but pretty cheap actually for the stats that it has. 2 aspects, 2 mana, 3 and a 3/3. Nothing much to say. Master Tactician, one of the key figures in the deck actually. Other soldiers on the same line as Master Tactician get +1 attack, +1 HP. He's a 3/3 2 speed that is just really tough to deal with. And of course it buffs up, you know, all soldiers, which means it buffs up the Elite Vanguard to a 4/4. It buffs up, that's a Knight. But I think it also works for them actually. Let me check that real quick. Actually, other soldiers, but I think it also counts for Knights. Don't quote me on that, however, but it means it buffs up the Night Recruiter, it buffs up the Steelnor Innkeeper to a 3/3, it buffs up Dwarf Spellbreaker to a 3/3, it buffs up the Musketeer to a 2/3, and of course the Steel Spearman to a 2/2 3 speed, and of course all the militia that you have summoned with Alexa and the Night Recruiter, they also get buffed to a 2/2 2 speed. As for spells, we have the Holy Radiance. Awesome removal, by the way. You either deal 1 damage right away, or if you have 2 aspects, and you don't need more than 2 aspects for this deck to be viable, by the way, because as you can see, the most that you have to do is 2 aspects to play the highest creature in the game, which is the Master Tactician. So for 2 aspects, you can drop Holy Radiance as a blessing. You end your turn, and when the enemy ends his turn, all creatures on the enemy side of the field get 3 damage, which is a great removal card, obviously. Guards. We have 4 of these. Summon 2 militia onto the field. Allied militia have 3 speed until end of turn. So if the enemy tries to push face, you can drop guards. Your militia are still 1/1s, but they don't have 1 speed. They actually have 3 speed, so they are basically able to block everything in the game. Great card for that, obviously. And you can also drop it at the end of the enemy's turn if you just want to go face damage next turn. Ray of Righteousness. As you can see, our creatures are really prone to removal, because our creatures are they don't have much HP and they don't have much attack. So we try to win, since it's a rush deck, we try to win early. And in the worst case scenario, mid-game. If the game goes into late game, we have pretty big problems with some creatures that the enemy might drop. An Elder, Battle Scald Elder is a problem. Phoenix is a problem, because also because of the 3 speed. Basically all mid-game cards that the enemy might drop are definitely a problem. Everything with 3 attack or more, basically. And that's where Ray of Righteousness comes into play. We only have 2 of these cards because we try to finish the game rather quick. So only 2 of those. And it also lets us destroy a spell if we don't happen to have a Dwarf Spellbreaker or if it's already removed. So we can use Ray of Righteousness on, for example, a Tombs of the Damned before it gets out of hand. Little rhyme right there also. 3. Insignia of the Sun. Debatable if you want to put this in or not. I choose to do so. At the end of our turn, if the enemy hero was dealt combat damage, it gains 1 energy. And we can use the energy to look at the top 3 cards of our deck and put a soldier or knight card from them into our hand. And yeah, we can also use the energy to pay the mana cost for soldier or knight cards, which is pretty nice. Obviously, we have 15 order shrines and 3 times Soldier's Memorial. I might dumb it down to 2 if you want to. Put a soldier card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. If you do, put a might emblem on an allied creature. So basically, anti-milling, just the same with the Steel Nor Innkeeper. But for this one, we take a soldier from our graveyard back into our deck, anti-milling, and then also in the process, which is pretty cool, we can buff up our creature with a might emblem. Let's say if we have an elite vanguard out and we have some soldiers in the graveyard, we use Soldier's Memorial, we get one of those knights that we choose back into our deck, and also buff up our elite vanguard to a 4/4 in the process, which is of course pretty nice. And before I forget it, by the way, Master Tacticians, obviously they stack, which means if we have one Master Tactician out, every other creature on the same line gets +1/+1. If I drop another Master Tactician, that's another +1/+1 for all creatures on the same line as Master Tactician. Obviously doesn't buff himself up, by the way. He is a 3/3 when he enters the field. Only if another Master Tactician comes in, he is obviously going to be a 4/4, or if we buff him up with Soldier's Memorial. But that goes without saying. There are obviously, by the way, different archetypes also, or different kind of deck lists that vary a little bit, but the main principle is always the same. Some people might shuffle in a Temple Guard, by the way. It's a card that I really like, actually, because it's pretty cheap. It's a 1/2. The times when this card, or it costs 1 aspect, 2 mana, and the cards when this card was 2 speed were definitely goddamn ridiculous, but yeah, it's a 1/3 that converts might emblems into shield emblems. Yeah, some people might throw this card in. Thought about it. You might get like rid of Insignia of the Sun and throw a couple of Temple Guards in there. Or there are also people, by the way, every time I run into soldiers, they also run, where is the guy? Right, this guy in the Descendant of Divinity. I see this card every goddamn time and I can't fucking stand it anymore. But this is a card that soldiers might run because it's also a human knight, as you can see. By the way, in conjunction with Soul Projection, it's a good board clear, actually. But yeah, you can also throw this guy in. There are a couple of cards that you might swap out and might swap in. This is like an older type of soldiers list, but we're gonna see if it works just as well as the other ones. Right now, we are ranked, or on rank 296 with a rating of 1059. Let's see. I mean, you know, the thing is, as I've stated, we played red soldiers, we played blue soldiers, we played black soldiers, and all of those decks didn't do much for us. They only like got us further down the shitter, but so I'm not really that confident, but we're gonna see. Maybe it works with the usual, with the pure order aspect for soldiers. We're gonna see how it goes, however, in game number 1. Game number 1 against Deeds, playing basic Darius. Alright. I guess we can keep that. It's not too bad. We go second, so that means we can go Steel Host into Rally the Peasants. Spark that shit right away, basically. Let's do that. Because we need another creature out in order, obviously, to use Rally the Peasants as we have, like, read before. We might run into... how are we gonna deal with that? Maybe drop Holy Radiance if we don't mess up the DO. Let's get rid of him. I might do that, even though it's a little bit of a waste. We could buff up the Steel Host with the Sentient, actually. Nah, let's go Holy Radiance. And let's push face. I could have buffed them up, but the thing is they are both range and they would X out each other anyways, you know? Like if he would have attacked next turn and I would have buffed up the Steel Host Spearman, Yeah, he would deal 2 damage, but he also would remove this in 1 damage, and they would just X each other out. Like, he would kill him, and Steel Host would kill him, so... yeah. Wouldn't have made too much sense, I think, to buff him up. Just get this real quick. Kinda weird, though. To see a Dwarf Musketeer in a basic Darius deck, that's kind of weird. Even if you play casual Darius. Reincarnation Spirit. Something's not adding up here. So we could go for another level and then use Rally the Peasants into Sentry. I think I kind of like that idea. Next turn we can actually also drop Master Tactician. Let's actually do that, I think. We don't need this. Make sure that we have a shrine to support everything. Yeah, let's do that. Buff him up. Go for another Rally the Peasants. Just attack with him and see if he blocks. Alright. Yeah, that kills him now. And he could basically revive him next turn. But the good thing is, of course, now we hit up a Master Tactician. But I think that should also buff him. Now we're gonna see if that also works for Knights. I'm actually not sure. Haven't played soldiers that much. Huh. That raises all new possibilities, actually, that Holy Radiance right there. Let's just go all out. Yeah, okay, it doesn't work for Knights, it only works for soldiers. Got it. Obviously gonna block 1. Nope. I think I'm gonna drop Holy Radiance next turn and Steel Host Spearman as well. Sounds kinda good. Let's get him back though, because he's probably gonna get removed, or tries to remove him. Yeah, Reincarnation Spirits could be a little bit of a problem. Just deals with the board, no problem. And that also survives. Okay. Probably pushes in for 6 damage. Wouldn't make sense to play anything else, I think. Okay. Okay. Oh, and path. Point taken for ya, my friend. Would have been cool if we would have hit another Holy Radiance there. It would have actually helped us. Let's go with this. Let's go with this guy. I think. Now we're good. What you got, my friend? Not really sure what this deck is, to be honest. Can't really fathom that. Looks a little bit freestylish to me. Gotta admit though, good play. Like, he managed to save actually most of his board from Holy Radiance. If he would have hit another one, I would have just dropped it to make sure that Saluxi goes out of the shit. Actually thinking about attacking it with more than 3 just to get rid of it, to be honest. I condone it. Okay, let's attack with these 2. Yes. He has to block that 9/9 though. 9 damage is a little bit too much, I think. Alright. Let that 9 damage go through then, I guess. Puts him down to 7 H Pizzle. Alright then. Deal with that board. Let's see if he has something. Cataclysm could help. So good actually like a Holy Radiance. Wouldn't surprise me if he has this, because as of now, the only blue card that I've seen is basically Seluxio. I really don't know what this deck is. That's like a weird Angels kind of deck. That also happens to run... like soldiers? I don't know. Spell Warden, that's not a big deal. Yeah, grabs Ray. Decides not to hide anything here. Holy Radiance, okay. Let's buff him up a little bit more. Go for beats. Should I attack with one of them? Probably not. Kinda sucks. It means though that shit is gone and I can go for full face next turn if he actually decides to block like that. Fuck! Come on! I could actually end this now. Fuck. But yeah, Horseback Rider is back in the deck. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Also have another Militia at my disposal next turn. If he doesn't happen to drop another Seluxio. That shit really sucks though. That drags on the game for so long and keeps him in the game for longer than he should. Longer than he should be. Let's attack with 3 creatures to just fucking remove the shit. Maybe that's a good idea, I don't know. Double Holy Radiance Blessing also doesn't sound too bad now. Soldier's Memorial, actually, yes. Yes, thank you very much. Let's buff him up. See if he blocks. One of them. Or both of them. I think he would be inclined to actually get rid of the Master Tactician now. Maybe like Reincarnation Spirit blocks him first and then Protector or something? Or damage sponge with him, okay. Wants to keep the Reincarnation Spirit, it seems. Yes, yes, yes. Fuck yes! Alright, finally! God! Finally that shit is done with. God damn it. That was annoying as hell, that fucking... How's it even called? Guardian of the Faith or something? Yeah, Guardian of the Faithful. Rashid. Alright, 5 cards left for him. And we have only one Master Tactician, however. Sucks a little bit, but we have the means to block. And we have the means to actually protect him. That game goes on for way too long. Like, the game should have been over like 6 minutes ago. And he actually resigns, I guess. Yup. Alright, okay. Plus 11 rating only for that. Holy shit. Well, that was game number 1. That netted us a win. Plus 11 rating at least. By the way, as you can see right here in the rankings. There was a little bit of change since the last time I viewed at the monthly rating for rank 1 to 10. So it's completely a whole white tick solo show at this point, which definitely isn't a good sign, even though we haven't ran into any white ticks so far. Not even in rank, by the way. I haven't played against white ticks once. I played with him once and I lost and I fucking hate him, but that's another story. So now we are rank 276 with a rating of 1070. Let's hope that the trend continues upward for us in terms of rating and actually gets lower in terms of ranking, because that would be beneficial for us, obviously, in game. And let's hope game number 2 contributes to this.